no one knows more about the situation with Tua Tagovailoa's health than Laura does. So I know you've been talking to everybody. And what does the video mean? What should we be waking up this morning thinking about now that he has released that video relative to what it means for where he winds up going in the draft?
Well, look, Greeny, I know my friend Dan Orlovsky is really excited about this video, and I understand why, but this is not surprising video to anyone who's been close to this situation. They've been expecting this video to come out. Tua has been doing these types of exercises and these types of drills for a little bit of time now. Of course, he was cleared to do all football activity earlier this month, March 9th, and the scans, of course, right before that came back very positively. So this is just a little snippet, like a little teaser of what's going out to so many out there looking for this type of video. And I think what it shows you is that the teams that are interested in Tua, they're going to be able to see much more of this, much more of him throwing, much more of him doing these types of drills, showing that suddenness, showing that the hip is fully healed. Now, Greeny, a few things just in this timeline that are really important here. As I said, cleared for football activity March 9th. There's a scan that's going to happen on April 10th that, Greeny, you referenced earlier in the show. That's in place of what would have been the regular combine recheck. So it would have happened in Indy. Of course, now it won't happen there. And basically what that scan is just the final chance to look at the hip, make sure after he's done some athletic activity repeatedly over a period of time that the hip is still healing properly. There's no cartilage buildup and things of that nature. That's still scheduled to happen. And then that information, that huge file of an MRI will be sent out to any team that's interested. Tua's camp continues to feel confident because the teams that have always been interested are still interested. They don't feel like they had that much more to prove. And if he would have done a pro day, it was really Tua that wanted to do the pro day. A lot of people around him actually said, you don't even need to do that because the teams are interested anyway. But he wanted to do it just to show what he showed in that video yesterday.
Guys, because of the Olympics thing, I have a little more limited time, so let's go get through a few things quickly. Dan Orlovsky, you were very excited by the 10 seconds of tape that you saw there. Why?
Because every question that we had about Tua when the injury happened 126 days ago has been answered. The question was, what is he going to look like? Can he get back to the sudden quarterback? What will he look like around the combine and then around potential pro days? Those all have been answered, Greeny. All the medical checks have been good. Now there's video of Tua moving. A month ago today at the combine, Tua was limping. And in 1 month, he's doing sudden quarterback drills. Greeny, this video is going to set off a game of chicken between the Miami Dolphins and the Los Angeles Chargers. Who is going to go up and get Tua because he is back and healthy? And that was the biggest question, and it's been answered.
Swagoo, is there any chance in your mind that he lasts past 3 in this draft one way or the other?
Only if Miami or LA doesn't trade up to take Detroit's spot. Tua will go. This is a part of the contract structure as well. I know it's something we talked about, but now you're not as committed to paying quarterbacks $50-60 million to draft them. Taking a flyer on Tua is not as disturbing as it would have been, let's say, when Sam Bradford came out and got 60 before he played a down. So this is one of those situations where we know a quarterback is really, really good, probably would have been in a conversation to be taken first without the injury history, and now Tua has an opportunity to still go top 5, top 6, maybe even that 3 if the trade happens.
Again, Laura is not just in contact with all the doctors, but also with Tua's camp, if you will. What do we know about their expectations, Laura? What do they expect to happen?
Well, look, they continue to feel really confident in Tua being picked high in this draft. And of course, no one really knows how this whole thing's going to go down. But the teams that have been interested for this whole period of time, and specifically I would point out the Miami Dolphins, a team that I know has consistently asked about Tua's health through this entire process. They've been doing a ton of due diligence through all of this. And so there's a great confidence amongst the people that are close to him. And a lot of that, guys, has to do with the fact that they're watching him work out. They're watching him throw the football again. They're watching him do all of this. They've seen the pictures. They've seen the hip. One thing to point out as well, the NFL doctors that were able to check on Tua at the combine. Remember, he talked about that day when he went through medicals for so long, like 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. they all felt very confident at that point. This small group of doctors, 4 or 5 doctors that are consulting all of these NFL teams, they felt confident at that point that he was already healed. It was just a matter of how the hip would respond to the athletic activity. So, Greeny, they continue to feel like they're in a really good position, and they're going to keep working on this to really ramp up his activity level as we go along here.
And Dan, I never know who to believe as we work our way towards the draft, because all these teams are purposely putting out misinformation. But you do every now and again see these stories coming out of Miami that the guy they really like is Joe Burrow. So do we feel like all of this is to at least some degree still in play as we're a month away from the draft?
I mean, it shouldn't be. The Bengals should not move off the first pick, but if Miami wants to go make a run at it, I get it. I think if Miami's looking at this whole situation, Greeny, and going, how do we build ourselves for the next decade plus? The best option for them is to go up to either 2 or 3 and go get Tua Tagovailoa with as little draft capital, that sacrifice as possible. If they can give up that 5th and maybe that back-end first-round pick to go up and get him and keep another pick available, that is their best option to build for the next 10 years. And they should be thankful for it, that they still have the chance to go get him. That's their best choice.
And they still have Fitzmagic there, who can hold that fort down for a year, as Marcus said, and get a redshirt year. Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.